It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everyone. It's been a minute, but yay, I get to come back to our favorite little recap show. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, listen to our podcast, do something. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us live and in living color, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you'll never miss when we're going live or when we've uploaded a brand new video. And if you need to take us on a long car ride or on a road trip, or while you're sitting in the park and just listening to ducks duckling, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just search Dishin Days and take us along with you. We'll be glad you did. Also, if you have not already, make sure you join our exclusive members-only page where you get exclusive content exclusively from your exclusive host of Dishin Days and the cast of Days of Our Lives. For 2 seconds, I had to pause and think, what show is this? You can tune into such amazing content as Those Were the Days Extended, brought to you by Justin Lee Hareld, where he dives deep into the day's history. And also, if one of our characters just needs a little advice from a cool Tia, there's Tia Says, brought to you by Miss Araceli Aviles. So make sure you check that out, along with some great content from your day's cast. Join now for $4.99 a month, and also meet us virtually. More of that when you join. Also, don't forget to show some love to my former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., who is serving up a couple of forks, knives, and spoons of his own. That's right. JLJ Media is serving you a recap of Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and Young and the Restless, along with some original audio dramas. So make sure you head on over to JLJ Media on YouTube and where podcasts can be found, because JLJ, James Lott Jr., is the oldest person I know who remembers when the first baby was born.
It wasn't him.
Surprisingly, no.
He was just immaculately concepted. Conception.
Yeah. When Joseph and Mary were with Jesus.
That was like way later.
I can just see in the manger, all you hear is
oh my gosh.
And I will remind you all, it's Holy Week.
And send that to James.
Oh, that's right. It is the week Jesus,
It's Holy Week.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Jesus pulled it. Just kidding, bitch.
You can't say bitch during Holy Week, Michael Mattis. Oh my gosh. What have you turned into since I've been gone?
2025 Jesus would have said, JK, bitch.
If I get through this week with keeping my promise for Lent, it'll be a miracle.
You gave up that promise 2 days after you made that promise.
No, I didn't give it up. It slipped out.
Gave it up.
It slipped out, and then I got right back on.
Never.
And I said, okay, I will do better.
Have you been doing better?
I have. Yes, I have been doing better under a tremendous strain. I've been doing much better.
Do you have a yell jar where, like, when you feel like yelling, you put $1 in it?
No. Are you kidding? Have you met me? No. When I feel like that, guess what happens?
The way you reach for that cup, like A true drinker.
just you feel like if you feel it coming out, just like okay.
Oh, take a drink. Okay. Well, that was the church announcements, right? I haven't done this show in quite some time. Shout out to you guys for doing a fabulous job while I was gone. I would tune in. It was weird tuning in on the East Coast because I was like, wait, what time? Oh, 6. So I was like, yay. So you guys were great. Great interviews with Dan and Carson and Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys tried to do the show without me. And I said, nope, I'm back.
Good job.
Mama Moore says hi also. I got a chance to visit with her. So she says, yay. All right.
You took her out to dinner?
No, you know what? She took me out.
Oh,
Okay.
Like it's so funny because before I got there, she was like, I set some money aside so that way we can go to all your favorite restaurants. And I was like, oh, Mama Moore.
That's a good mama.
Yeah. So we literally went to all 3 of my favorite restaurants. So I ate good. Oh, it was so good. All right. Well, speaking of good things, Tony came back to the show and saw JK, bitch, I'm back. Like Jesus. I did. All right. Well, let's talk about this show, shall we? What did we think of this week's episodes of Days?
ooh, so good.
Pretty solid week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Really
cute.
good writing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? And I know this probably goes against like Writers Guild rules because Ron is still credited as head writer, but I don't know. The last couple of weeks, I've just felt like the overall writing and the tone of the show changed a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very noticeable to me. And I'm like, did they send him off and are having like other people write the show?
Well, Jamie Giddens also did the layout for this week in particular, and it was just masterful.
Look at Araceli being a what do you call
soap opera aficionado?
Oh well, no, her video was completely frozen when she said all that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just me.
What?
I was like, your video was frozen, so it was like you were talking, but you were like,
oh,
look at her being ventriloquist over here. That's what I was trying to say. No, anyway, I just feel like it's just been a very different tone, and the writing's been a little more buttoned up, I guess I would call it, in the past few weeks, and maybe maybe it was Ron, I don't know, but I just felt it. I just wondered, I was like, oh, maybe like this was some sort of transition period, because
I think Ron told us on our show they do the scripts are done 6 weeks before they film, so who knows in that period of 6 weeks, with the new writers are brought in or someone did some punching up, or I feel like it's also not an exact science, like at this particular day and time the writing ends and then this day it picks up. I feel like it
I'd be surprised if that's if it was able to work like that. Like, just
I feel like it all gets mixed up in with each other the last probably couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, but to your point, we spoiler alert, we don't have tidbits today as we did last week.
Yeah.
Well, it's been another week of
very
heavy,
concise.
Sorry, it's been a heavy, like a concentrated.
Yes, it's concentrated. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we like that. We like concentrated. I thought this week was very good. It was very captivating. Stories and things were moving along. You didn't feel a lull at any time, and I felt like they focused on the storylines like equally. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't too much of one thing this week. It was like a little bit of everything, and I feel like once you were just like, I kind of need something new, like something new came up.
Yeah.
So,
one thing that came up could have stayed in Chicago, but we'll talk about that.
Before we move on, though, yes, Christian Me World, we see it. We're sorry that you were late, and thank you for bringing Rex, Vivian, and Sammy to Salem. I appreciate you.
$1.99. That will buy you approximately 3 eggs.
Oh, Me World done downsize his super chat. They used to be $4.99. economy.
Even where he is, the Trump shit's affecting him. He's got to scale back.
We got to scale back. He said, "I can't do $4.99 no more. I got to only do $1.99." And we appreciate it, Me World.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so let's get down to it, y'all. Shall we? Justin, do you have your hourglass?
Is he frozen now?
No,
is
I'm
it?
not
Oh.
We can resume to regularly scheduled programming.
But I feel like that was a question because I don't know if Tony has his ready.
Oh no, I do. I
Okay.
like Justin's. But I can use my Justin always thinks I'm shady. Every time I say something, he gives me that look like, "Oh, bitch, you're being shady." And I'm like, "No, I'm not being shady. I just wanted to see the hourglass."
I don't think that's a response to you. I think that's just Justin being shady himself.
You know what? I'm glad you pointed that out, so that way I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Shady Justin. It's always the quiet ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just want the hourglass flipped.
It is now time to start
Dishin
Days. Oh wow, that was pretty close, y'all. All right, let's kick things off with one of our favorite shady people. Sammy's back, everybody. First of all, I love how she just like eases into the hospital room, refreshed looking. I mean, hair coiffed to one side, beautiful dress on her, and just like, oh, Belle. But did anyone? Okay, so I know I'm jumping ahead, but I had this thought, and I would love to. My hope, my wish, my prayer is that we can get Allison Sweeney on again. She's been on the show a couple of times. Like she was on the show when we were in the studio. She did the surprise pop up when Freddie Smith and Chandler left. So I would love to have her back on. But my first thought was like, I mean, she's been playing Sami since she was in her teens.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you, like, when you get the calls to like come back, like, how do you say, okay, like as a person, like will or does Sami evolve? And I actually feel like she kind of evolved a little bit. Like she's a completely
she's not completely new.
Well, not complete, but she's like
Sami 2.0.
Yeah, she's a
like, different Sami.
Yeah, because I feel like the Sami that we know, if she had heard Belle said, "I love you, EJ," she would have walked in and said, "You love who? What you mean?"
She would have said, "What do the 5 fingers say to
the face?" But oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking like what I saw of Sami this week was just like a matured, evolved result of therapy Sami, whereas before, yes, she would have handled that situation with Belle differently. Instead of going kind of off the rails, she actually had like a adult, mature conversation. I mean, she did kind of, poke a little bit, but it wasn't like Hurricane Sami, as we call her, like swooping in and causing chaos. So I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it so far.
Yeah. Same. I mean, she was a hurricane still, but she was just a different kind of hurricane.
It was like a category 0.5 hurricane versus a usual 5.
Yeah.
She was still snarky, but I feel like Sami's worst trait has always been she gets in her own way a lot of the times, and it feels like she's not doing that anymore, which is nice. It's nice to see. We don't want her to change completely, but the character growth, I think, has been needed, and that's probably been a big complaint about that people have had of the character over the last, maybe she's been on, now that you said that, Tony, it's been 30-something years she started. So it's like, 30. I'd say the last 15 years, people have wanted a little bit more growth in her. So I feel like we're getting that, and it's nice to see. But I just, on a different level, like, thank God for Allison Sweeney. Like, I feel like when she comes back, she gives the show a bit of a shot in the arm. And I don't know. I feel
I
like
mean,
when she comes back, we talk about it, and then when she leaves, it's like, wah, wah. It's like, I don't know. I think some changes need to be made, and hopefully we're getting there with these new writers and stuff. But her scenes, she outshines everyone, and she still to this day, sad to say, because I think we love her as a talent, but they've come nowhere near close to replacing her, and that's unfortunate
never.
to say.
But
But they
I don't.
should, though. Not in terms of her, in terms of her talent. They haven't replaced what she represented on the show. I'll say they
Oh yeah,
haven't.
no.
They haven't been
No,
able
you're
to,
right.
Well,
and that's unfortunate. And they should have.
I think that Sami is such a staple character. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we can imagine. You guys, let me know if I miss anyone, because we've seen some recasts and like popular people like Bo and things like that. But I feel like you couldn't replace a Marlena, you couldn't replace a Sami, you can't replace a Sami. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there were people that are such staples, like Patch. Like, can you imagine someone else coming in as Patch now? You know what I mean? Like, or Kayla, like just these very like legendary, characters. And I feel like because Allison Sweeney has been playing Sami for so long, and because of like Sami's tied to so many different people and so many different things and so many, different storylines and stuff, that she's definitely left a mark on the show, like many other people have. So it's like when Allison Sweeney comes back, it's like we feel that presence, and it's almost like we're waiting to see, like, oh hell, what is she gonna do now? You know what I mean? Or like, who is she want to seek revenge with, or who's gonna be on her radar? There's a part of me that hopes, because I was hoping that like when Sierra was younger, that she was gonna be like the next Sami, or there's still hope that Rachel may be like like a Sami, right? But then when she got the phone call in the hospital from Sydney, I was like, I need y'all to stop talking about her, and I need her to just show up. Like I need to see Sydney now, because we haven't seen her since she was a baby. We need to see like how she is. Yeah, and she may fit well with the whole Tate, Holly. Is she that old?
No, she's only 2 years younger than Johnny and Allie, so she's an adult. She's
an adult.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. Well, because the Johnny and Allie were Soros a few years, so we don't know. Time wise.
Well, no, Nicole confirmed it. She's an adult, because she was going to use. They were going to use Sydney as a witness to her in EJ's marriage. So she would have to be,
Oh, she's a young adult. Okay, yeah. So then, so she's a young adult, probably just running around Europe, like her brother and sister were, just enjoying herself.
Yeah. It was weird. They didn't even like. It was so funny because I was waiting for we knew, of course, maybe there wasn't going to be a Sydney this time. So like I was waiting for the general generic excuse, and they didn't even bother to give one this time. It wasn't. Sammy's like, oh, I'm here because EJ's the, father of my children. And it was like, well, wouldn't Sydney be there too? Like, they just didn't even bother. It was like, whatever. I mean, I'm glad we got the phone call. And then we got, a couple weeks ago, we had Chad reference calling her and letting her know. But I don't know. I feel like they're pushing her to the way side when we don't even get an excuse as to why she's not there. It seems a little bit odd.
Well, I mean, it's like the whole timing is everything thing that, bringing on another Dimera child. I feel like that's let's hold. I'm okay with holding out for that, because these are big. She's a big character. Her story since birth was big. So it's kind of like when we finally got Allie and Johnny, it's like that to me was worth waiting for.
Yeah. Oh man, what was I gonna say? I forgot.
I'll say something then. One thing that I'll go. I have been very vocal about how Sami has been one of my least favorite characters. I hate her so much.
You and Dylan Matthews both.
She did, I was an Austin Carey fan back in the day, and she just did so much shit to them. And a lot of what she recapped, it was a very good recap of the trials and tribulations of Sami Brady. When she says it all out loud at once, you're like, you finally I finally had some empathy for her, and I was like, oh, that's why you were just off the rails. And there's some things I forgot, and I felt bad, even though this character is not a real person. I completely forgot about Alan.
How did you forget that?
He was brought up. He was brought up like a year ago, wasn't he? Or something like that.
I forget when we focus on why Sami did all the things
Sami's
that she
history,
did.
yeah.
Back in that we focus on, and because the character uses it as an excuse because she caught John and Marlena. It was always John and Marlena's fault. Blah 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 blah. But then you have to you forget that the girl was raped by someone she had a crush on.
Yeah,
that's gotta fuck with your head. And so everything she did to Carrie and Austin was after that. And so you're like, oh my gosh, and then going even further back to Marlena being kidnapped, John coming in as Roman and not knowing who her dad is. And it's just you finally understand why she was the way she was. And the self-reflect, I really appreciated Sami's self-reflection.
Yeah, and it was
an acknowledgement of things. So I'm like, wow, do I actually like Sami now?
Well, I feel like
I just have more empathy for her than I did before.
Yes, well, I feel like the way that she laid it all out for Johnny, let's be real. This is not Sami suddenly turning into a different person, or necessarily changing her impulsive behavior. This is Sami just aware. And I feel like that self-awareness is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that moment where, she just kind of laid it out to Johnny. That was a really good and very emotional scene. And man, the way Allison I'm always impressed when people come back and right off the bat they get a scene like that. I was just like, man, it's a testament to how talented someone is. But also, to your point, Michael Mattis, of just hearing everything and hearing the start of it, and then taking accountability of what she did, and hearing the reasons why, her thought process of why she did the things that she did. I think you're only right to have some sympathy for her. You know what I mean? I always felt even though Sami did very devious things, it came from an interesting place. It wasn't all I'm just doing this just because and sometimes it came from a selfish place. It's this is what I want, but it stems from a deeper need, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's on the surface, it seems very deviant and evil, but internally and deep down, it's something, it's another reason that she's doing this. And it's because I think wholeheartedly, she really wanted to be loved and cared for and looked at as, in a way that, made her feel special.
The fear of abandonment that was established when, again, Stefano kept taking Marlena. Her dads were confused, who was who when she was younger during her formative years. And so that need, what you were talking about, her wanting to be loved, and then fear of whoever loves her going away, it's only natural that she would feel that way given what she went through. And it was brought up that others, Eric went through the same thing, Carrie went through the same thing, and they didn't, do what she did. But that's not to say that she's wrong for, reacting to that trauma like that. Different children, even though they go through the same thing or grow up in the same household, it's just, one can react differently to it than another one.
Yeah.
Better than the other one or one worse than the other one. It's just how it all shakes out.
Yeah, that part was interesting for me too. One, I was shocked that they did the sort of recap of the history because I was like, oh, that doesn't. I remember when she started to say it and then they went to commercial and I thought when they came back, it was going to be one of those like she talked to him off screen and then he was gonna, or at least about the essay stuff. I thought that part of it, and then she sort of delved into her whole history. I thought that was incredible. I feel like we don't get characters sort of replaying their life trauma sort of like that, so that was cool. But also the stuff about like when she acknowledged like Carrie and Eric had a different reaction to it, and I like that part of acknowledging because I mean when we look back at it, honestly, Carrie had a much more traumatic childhood than Sami did. So it was always interesting watching during those years. And like Sami, I felt like always used the John and Marlena stuff as a crutch. And yeah, I do think she sort of went with that a little bit too far. But it is an exploration of like trauma and how different people respond to things. I mean, Carrie sort of took a lot of what happened to her and it played out, not as internally as Sami did, but.
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 points I want to make. The first being that, we didn't get to see too much of how it affected Eric. I think he was just kind of the kid that rolled with things. But with Carrie, I think she, the way that she kind of, looking back now, I think the way that she dealt with the trauma of her childhood was by being the big sister, was by focusing on her role as caretaker to Eric and Sami, and really kind of just making them the focus and not focusing so much on anything that she went through. And I think that has kind of been like what she's done throughout her life, and why it took years for her to really stand up to Sami's shenanigans, because it was still her little sister, and that was how she was still, till this day, still very protective of her in certain ways. And then I do want to switch the conversation though to, like, we keep saying how we felt sympathy for Sami, and I kind of want to switch that to maybe we should feel just more proud of Sami, because Sami herself is not telling this story to Johnny to gain sympathy. That's not what she hopes to gain by telling him her life story. She's telling him this so that he can just have more understanding. And she did, and by also taking responsibility for what she did to Austin, I think she's trying to open his world up to the greater picture that SA is so complicated. It's so complicated. I mean, we wouldn't have 2 decades plus episodes of Law and Order SVU if each case was exactly the same. It's so complicated. It's so broad in its scope of who hurts who, that she just wanted him to have a better understanding of herself, of his father, and to also understand that while she has had 3 experiences with this type of violence, they have been very unique in and of themselves. And it's not a compare and contrast thing. It's not a vote to gain sympathy. Oh, poor me. I've been a victim my whole life. She's not. She's been the victim and she's been the aggressor. And she needs her son to understand that trying to fit her relationship with EJ and Johnny's existence into a box is not realistic.
I think the conversation started with her just wanting to explain to Johnny why she went back with EJ even after that happened. And it just turned into like the history of, like, she took us to the beginning and then worked her way up. And so I also think for the first time we had like an understanding of Sami, because I feel like while she was doing her deeds, we always equated to, oh, that's just Sami. Of course she's going to do that. But now it was kind of like for the first time there's a reason. And it's like, oh, okay, this it all comes together. So kudos to Allison Sweeney for that. Great scene, of course, again with Sami and Johnny. Shady, snarky scenes between her and Belle. I just love seeing Allison Sweeney.
Sami.
Yeah, I love seeing Allison Sweeney and Martha Madison together. It's just like you look at them and you just honestly believe that they are sisters, like in real. Like I was looking at the both of them and I was like, oh yeah, like I could see this. I could see how they're sisters and how they play off of each other. So it was good. The only issue that I did have was, did we have to have this conversation in the room with a comatose EJ?
Okay, so I was thinking about this. I was like, this is such a poignant scene, and they're standing up at the side, to the side in a hospital room. And I was starting to think, I was like, why is this bothering me so much? And it's like scenes like this, and I kind of came up with it. I was like, okay, some scenes should be in somewhere and the characters should be sitting down. First of all, that's one thing. They should be sitting down. Secondly, the other, like, certain scenes should be done sitting down. Certain scenes should be done standing up. So, like, as moving and as poignant as it was, yeah, I wish it was somewhere different. Like, the hospital has a chapel. They could have gone in there.
They could have gone in that lobby that the waiting lobby
or something. Yeah, and even in the lobby, that's
not that it's not the lobby, but it's that room that they used to use whenever they would talk to each other, and it was like a room at the hospital, like that was like behind a closed door, but it looked like a waiting room, but it wasn't like an open waiting room.
Oh, yeah. They also used to have a patio too, but I think that's long gone. But no, it was the setting for it was that was my only issue with it too.
They could have went to the roof, because remember when Marlena died, wasn't that on top of the hospital roof?
Yeah.
Could have went to the roof. They could have green screened that roof again, and
the green screen probably cost some money.
They didn't do that for long, did they?
That don't cost money. That ain't nothing but a green screen sheet and some good editing. So, but yeah,
I wanted to say something else. Carson had to have been exhausted, like after those weeks of shooting all that, he and then having to go home and with like, not having to go home, but going home to a young child, and then having to be a parent and all that. I'm like, man, that young man had to have been exhausted, because wait
a minute, how old are you? That young man must have had to go home.
I mean, I'm being realistic. Like, he's 20 years younger than I am, so yeah, he's a young man. So I'm starting to say young man a lot.
I think you're just entering your fuddy-duddy years.
No, I'm feeling it. No. But his performances have been solid through this whole time.
Oh yeah.
So he's putting in the work.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think that we would last time those scenes with EJ, he was the one that was really the aggressor, the confrontationer in that scene. This time it was more his response to listen. I think that coming out of that, I'm interested to see this coming week what his response is, because he must be just shell-shocked, because that was a lot of information that she laid on him.
I also like the decision. I like the decision to show he didn't know a lot of that, and some of that was like, oh really, you didn't know that X. Some of it I get, but it seemed like he really knew nothing other than the stuff Stefano did to Roman. I was like, okay, I understand he would know that, and he would know about John and the affair. That makes sense. But I kind of get he wouldn't know about Alan maybe, but some of the other stuff, I guess he doesn't know about the stuff with fraternity.
I was actually surprised that a lot of our viewers, that a lot of people on social media seem to think that for some reason Allie and Johnny and Sydney, even though we don't see her, would have been privy to all of that information. But that you have to understand that Will was only privy to that information because he was older, and because unfortunately Sami didn't really turn into a responsible parent until she had the twins.
Yeah,
she was a child herself when she gave birth to Will, and she went through years of just she put Will through hell, let's be honest. Right up until he was an adult, she put him through hell. So it was so much so there was so much by the time she gave birth to her last 3 children later on. There was so much that she outwardly probably said, I want to protect them from, and then there was probably stuff that people just said they don't need to know this, because if it didn't have any direct impact on them, they weren't going to say anything. And if it did, Sami made sure that everybody agreed, like they said, that specifically for EJ's assault on Sami, that it wasn't going to be discussed. This is not something that we're going to bring up to these kids. So it's actually, I understood that to be pretty much how she would do it. I don't understand why everybody thought that they would be privy to it.
Yeah.
That made no sense to me.
Well, not just to talk about Sami. I mean, the reason why she came was Johnny,
Yeah.
but also the fact that EJ is shot and comatose. There's things to do to deal with that, as far as like.
Oh, but before we get off of the Johnny of it all, I do want to pivot to the conversation that Chanel and Paulina had on it.
Oh, how she talked to the DA about the statute of limitations.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I had a big problem with that.
What, that the statute of limitations was up?
No, I had a big problem that Paulina took it upon herself to be telling the story of Johnny's conception to someone else.
Well, we don't exactly know the conversation. She might not have revealed that it was Sami. She might have said it in like a roundabout way of like a situation happened.
She said, she told Chanel that she had talked to whoever it was and specifically named EJ. And I'm like, but that's not your story to tell.
I assume she just said 27 years ago or 25 years ago because she knows how old Johnny is. I didn't take it as she gave specifics of it's Sami or EJ.
Or she could have simply just asked what the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope not, but the fact that she said that she's from this point forward going to take it upon herself to do that. Like, I hope you keep it vague, because if you're specifically going to try to come after EJ for this and try to drag Sami and Johnny into it, oh boy, no, that's not your place.
It may not be her place. Like, her heart's in the right place. She's just not like maybe thinking. She's not thinking appropriately, but her heart's in the right place.
No, that's not okay. It's not okay.
Well, you call her and tell her.
Yeah, no, it's not okay.
I took it differently. I see your point of her sort of taking on the crusade of another victim. I guess I get that point, but I assumed that she would be running this by Sami. I didn't take it as she would sort of like, gas up the torch and like use it as a bargaining chip to get rid of EJ. I saw it more as, with Sami's permission. Like, I also feel like she's coming from it as of, she doesn't know much about the situation. She does know that they, eventually went on to. And
that's the part that really upsets me, because I think that she's making part of it personal, bringing in her own history as an abuse victim. And before, and I know that you guys say we shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming right now she has not talked to Sami about this, because if she had, then Sami would have been like, stop right there. We're not doing this.
But I don't, I mean, maybe I have to go back and watch it, but I feel like she checked in on something without giving specifics.
I hope so. Because if she did, you know, I feel the same way about, you know, that as I did with Kate, which is that it's not your trauma to tell about. None of your business. You can have sympathy, you can be supportive, but that's not your story to tell.
Oh, we're not gonna revisit that argument.
We'll let Sami take care of that.
Yeah.
Look, just let Sami take care of Sami, okay? Clearly she's doing better now that she's done therapy, that she's being consistent about it. So just let her handle it.
Yeah.
Y'all thought more than I did about what Paulina said, because I was like, okay, yeah, statute of limitations is up. Damn.
Same. She said that. I was like, oh, that's something good to look into.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Araceli was like, she told that lady's business. I was like, did she?
I mean, it was something I didn't think about, but yeah, you're right. If she is actually going to pursue that, she definitely needs to run it by Sami first. And it would be kind of feel like out of character for Paulina to go do that without to go actually pursue it without Sami's blessing. So
yep, nope, we don't do that.
No.
Let's now get to the who done shot EJ. Araceli, do you have your circle of suspects?
Oh, why, yes, Tony, I do. Oh, I gotta reach for it. Okay.
All
okay.
Right, so it looks like they were revisiting like people and like where they were. JJ seems to have high suspicions of Gabby, which this week, damn it, Gabby, why were you at that house? So I feel like we need to get that scanned and put that up so that way you don't have to hold it.
I need to create a flow chart. Yeah.
There's another suspect I thought about because I think someone mentioned it in the chat last week, and I don't know. It came to me when I was walking Bimby one day this week. I was like, oh, she should be a suspect. She should be a suspect too. Sloan.
Oh, just because she's just
wow, that would be so random. It's kind of interesting.
I was thinking because I was like, oh, she's not on screen right now. She's not a front and center suspect. She would have motive, wouldn't she?
Like she literally just left, and we have not heard from her since. Like she went out that side door,
she did
never came back.
EJ ran her out of town.
She pulled a Homer Simpson. She just kind of went.
She just
Yeah. Well, we last week put in our initial suspects, Tony. Who is your initial suspect?
Okay, so when I was watching that week with my mom, because we both had to catch up, my mom kept saying every scene, oh yeah, oh no, that's it right there. She did it. Oh no, he did it. Like it was. First of all, watching TV with my mom is very interesting. My mom and I will be watching the same thing, and she will ask 10 questions, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm watching the same thing you are.
Yeah.
But she had a lot of theories. I honestly don't have anyone in mind, if I'm being honest, because I feel like there's so many different people and there's so many possibilities. My first thought was it had to be Ava because she threw the gun and skipped town. And I was like, oh, dang, is that? And then with the announcement of like, she was leaving, I was like, oh, because at first I thought, oh, she's already left. I was like, oh, this is the episode where Ava leaves. And Tamara Braun says she hasn't been back like since. I was like, okay, July, 9 months. Okay, we're here. So I thought it was Ava, but then I was like, in true Days form, it's not the initial person. And I feel like we're going to get all these possibilities, and then it's not going to be any of them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What would be really great? What would be really great is if they made it one of the possibilities, like straight from the usual formula for these things.
One of the dozen possibilities on this page.
And I still there's also the theory that EJ himself EJ himself had something to do with it.
With his own shooting?
Yeah. Because of the way what he was saying, what he was speaking, the words he was saying right before he was shot.
Yeah.
I don't have a theory as to how he went about it, but I'm just like, I think he himself had something to do with it. No, he didn't necessarily shoot himself, although we know that that's a possibility because another Dimera managed to shoot himself and frame someone else for it almost successfully, like 30 years ago. So it definitely could be something that happened again. He has Dr. Rolf at his disposal, doesn't he? Dr. Rolf isn't in jail or anything. Like he has Dr. Rolf at his. So,
well, we haven't yet had any opportunity to cross anybody off this list.
You can also
maybe Paulina. Is Paulina on that
Paulina,
list?
yeah. Did we add Paulina?
I think we can pretty safely remove her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
The truth. Yeah.
And then as we remove her, you can put that down now.
So Paulina at least explained where she was, and I believe her. So I think she's the only one maybe we can cross out. Is there anybody else do you think we need to add?
I don't think. Well, you got everybody, unless we just start adding random people for whatever reason. But I feel like this week they focused on Gabby, Kristen, Roman, and Kate, and Johnny.
Yeah.
Because they all did these vignettes where they went back and they had some sort of dealings with a gun. But I also feel like these are the 5 people that probably could be knocked off because I don't feel like it's going to be either one of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be more. I think we'll get more answers or more. Have a tighter circle when we figure out what gun was used.
But also, here's the other thing that I'm annoyed about, and I don't know if y'all are annoyed about this or not. There's a recording of what happened, and Rafe has it. So at what point is Rafe gonna listen to it to see who shot EJ?
I'm wondering if he took it because in the back of his mind he suspects that it's someone close to him.
He might think it's Gabby.
Yeah,
but I also think it could
implicate.
Yes, because it's like, wait, how did you get into the Dimera house? When did you get into the Dimera house?
That he has
Was it Rafe that took the recording, or was it? We still don't know where Arnold was, right? Do we know that was actually Rafe?
Ronald. Arnold isn't that smart.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
unless he was part of the plan that EJ was talking about.
We assume it was Rafe because he went right to the recording and didn't fumble about.
But if EJ, my theory is that EJ knew. Part of my theory is that EJ knew the recording device was there and was performing for it. And so if Arnold was, if this plan was something in existence and he was using Arnold, EJ was using Arnold to help him, that could have been Arnold coming in and taking the recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really hope it's not that kind of I really hope it's not that kind of complicated. Honestly, like I've come up with this wild theory. I hope
it's not that crazy.
Yeah, that's entirely plausible. Yeah,
it's entirely plausible. But I'm hoping like they just make it a simple like someone got pissed off, went and popped the asshole, and got out of there. But
listen, it's no more convoluted than what's the name? Spears, who killed Charlie.
That was convoluted.
That was a little far.
It's like, where did you come from? I have a question, and it's going to be about knowing stuff, because obviously we knew there was going to be a Who Shot EJ storyline back during November when they showed the super tease. Do you think that this would have a different impact if we didn't see that? And like all of a sudden, like EJ did that whole scene of like talking to the Stefano portrait, and then him looking up and being like, "What are you doing?" And then seeing the gunshot, and then being like, would that have been more of a like gasp moment and more of a shocking moment than just being like, oh, okay, this is the part where EJ's gonna get shot. Now we gotta like figure out who it
would
is.
have been maybe more of a surprise, but they also had a lot of lead up to it. Like,
yeah,
there was a lot of like, oh, if he comes after my kids, I'm gonna kill him. Or and Johnny said something about kill him. They were foreshadowing it happening, so we probably would have seen it coming anyway.
Because he just pissed so many people off.
We just wouldn't have known months in advance. We would have figured it out like weeks. That we could have, as viewers, we would have figured out, oh, something's gonna happen to EJ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Side note, Kate, I feel like Kate had a moment when Rex was like, oh yeah, they caught the guy who did the hit and run to me. Like, it wasn't like horrible. I just like, didn't move out of the way quick enough. They have him in custody. I felt Kate's energy go, damn, it wasn't EJ.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this whole time she thought potentially that EJ went after Rex.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the room she had a moment of, oh, it wasn't him. And then what a tattletale he was.
I know.
To Roman.
He's a bitch. He can stay in Chicago.
Tell us how you really feel, Michael Madden.
He's a little bitch. Like, I saw him on the promo last week. I was like,
that side eye.
I actually love Rex. I know I'm in the minority here, but I love Rex. I
don't mind Rex. I just also would wish that maybe Cassie would visit.
That part, yeah. One part of the alien twins.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like she should be around.
Yeah.
But okay, I think. Oh, and then the Kristen of it all. Like, she knew she had got caught when they said, "Oh, we got to check your purse." She was like, "Why?" I was like, You was about to dip out. You were about to leave and let them go through your whole house without any supervision. And then when they said, "We need your purse," you like, huh? You need what? You got to look in what? Yes, we got to look in your purse. Side note: do we like JJ and Sean as detectives and partners?
The same thing is starting to happen with JJ that used to happen to me as a viewer with Bo. I couldn't, like, when Bo got into like cop mode, I couldn't stand him. It just irked the shit out of me.
Really?
And the same thing is happening with JJ, just being so like smug and like, and I'm like, oh, you're annoying, dude. I want her to get away with it. Like, you're not.
No, I mean, I actually feel the opposite. I feel like JJ, I respect JJ because I feel like he's the only one who's actually doing any work.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not, and it's the same with Bo. He's not. I'm not saying he's a bad cop. He just it annoys me when like there's this era of arrogance about it. There's the arrogance.
Air of arrogance. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, but to be fair, Kristen had that coming because at every point she just digs herself deeper, and like her lawyer should have gotten there much sooner to tell her just to shut up. Just to let this process play out, because while she's sitting in here, bitching and complaining and making sure that the police do take their sweet time in interrogating her, she's missing out on a lot. And she could just be helping the process go faster.
Anyway. Well, I feel like we still got a long ways to go to figure out who done shot EJ.
Can I say I loved the Chad and Johnny scene?
Oh yeah.
I will say that as much as I loved it, I felt like it just like exemplified and pointed out how far removed Chad is from the Dimeras.
Yeah.
I love the dialogue and I love the "I love you, we're family" kind of stuff. And then it was like, well, you're kind of like a Horton now for the past 3. I don't know. I liked it, but I felt like they didn't earn it. You know what I mean? In a way. I feel like he's been so far removed from the Dimeras. It would have landed a little bit different if they had, I don't know, kept him as a Dimera. I feel like they've completely moved him into being a Horton and in that family.
Yeah.
I would hope that Chad could be one of the people that could help Johnny through the next few months trying to navigate all of this new information, all of the emotions that he's feeling about this, because Chad was kind of, I mean, Chad knew about all of this, one. And Chad is one of the few people who will make no excuses for anyone's bad behavior. I mean, you know, he's like quote unquote the good Dimera, and he can really be, I think he's the best sounding board, because I think Chanel might lean too much towards Paulina's way of thinking, which is to just kind of like fix it or try to like retroactively understand something that she wasn't there to understand. Whereas Chad was there, at least for the tail end. He was there for Johnny's toddler years, his early childhood. So he saw all that, you know, tumultuous stuff happening. So he's no stranger to it. And he also understands, you know, how life can be complicated and people are not black and white. People are, you know, always live in the gray, especially if you're a Dimera. So I think, you know, aside from Sami, I think Sami got the initial conversation started because she had the information to give Johnny a full picture. But I think Chad is the one who needs to be there to help him navigate through it.
You can see that.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I think we beat down that storyline, yeah? Let's move it right along to our next storyline, which is Titan takes over in one commercial break.
You guys remember Tabitha? Tabitha takes over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she busts in on a place and then is just like, give me the keys. I'm taking over.
I'm taking it.
Like, just fully like interrupts the people. She's like, your place is shit. I need it. Give me the keys. I'm taking over. So like that just made me think of that. Like, Xander and Philip were Tabitha in that scenario.
But is it me or did it happen so fast?
It was.
Listen, they spent the money on Elsa Sweeney. They had no money for a boardroom scene. They had no money
all the other actors. They were like, no, we just need to be quick about it.
But at least we got a good explanation of how it was done.
Yeah, it was realistic.
It was that explanation that made it okay in my eyes, that it happened so quickly. And it was just kind of, I did feel like, I don't know. I don't want to use the word anticlimactic, but like a bit, like I would have wanted a bigger reveal, but given the explanation that was given about how they were going to go about it, I was like, okay, that's fine. And they had the nice little confrontation with Gabby and flabbergasted Gabby.
I was confused because I was like, Gabby Chic is now under Titan. I get that. Xander and Philip are now her bosses. Got it. But was there a discussion of removing her?
Not that I remember. Not up until this point where they,
like they basically just walked in and was like, "We own you and your company." But I felt like there was a moment where I was confused because I was like, "Why is she mad? Like you still got your company; it's just under them."
Oh yeah, I did get a little bit of that. I was trying to rationalize that maybe she was just shocked. Well, I guess they brought up the Philip stuff, so I know her and Philip are at odds. I didn't get the Xander attitude about it. He seemed very weirdly like giddy about like sticking it to her, and I was trying to remember. I was like, wait, did they have like a weird history I'm not remembering in business or something? It was weird. It wasn't until Philip mentioned like, oh, a year or 2 years ago you tried to backstab me, kind of a thing, that I thought, okay, it makes sense why he's kind of like giddy about sticking it to her. But I didn't understand Xander in that scene.
Yeah, I was like, you still got a job, girl. You still got all your stuff. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. I suppose we're just supposed to accept that maybe Gabby just doesn't like uncertainty when it comes to her company,
or just change, or maybe she felt like, oh, maybe they're going to potentially like do away with her or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. I would, but in that moment, I was
You
just
would
like,
do a reorg and get rid of her.
do what?
A reorg.
Yeah.
A
I don't know.
reorganization. How I lost my
yeah.
job. New people
Oh.
came in to run the place. They reorganized and told me to go pound salt.
I mean, that's how I too lost my job.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
lovely.
yeah, but yeah.
No, and I took it. Someone said Xander was just being Xander. I didn't take it as though he was like. I took it as like he was like the cat that got the canary. Is that the phrase? Like he was just kind of boasting his you know his power now. There was nothing more behind it except like, you know, I'm your boss now. That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, but no, I agree with you, Charlie. It was kind of odd because it was like I would imagine she'd rather be a Titan if she had a choice to work under Titan or Dimera. I feel like she would pick Titan. So I'm with you. It was a little odd.
It's like girl, you're not going nowhere. You got a job. You got your company. Like you finna walk out of the door and they're like, baby, you can go. We own this.
Yeah.
How do we feel about now that the takeover has officially happened? Do y'all have any feels towards it at all?
I'm glad they finally made a decision and like pulled the trigger. Like we'll see how long this lasts, if there's going to be a switch up at some point in the near future, but I'm glad they finally committed to doing something like this. And,
yeah.
Then Vivian comes walking in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Someone mentioned something. Oh, the explanation about why Sydney wasn't with EJ. Another explanation we really didn't get this week was how exactly Vivian got out of prison, but how and why and under what circumstances, because she's only been in prison for like a few months. And so was it like good behavior? Was it overcrowding? Were they just like, girl, go home? You know, like I remember there was a scene with Maggie ran into Vivian while she was volunteering at Statesville. But I was trying to remember. Oh, did Maggie say something regarding Vivian that would have made it like a foreshadowing that she was going to get out? But yeah, exactly. To be bright, she was Nikki Finn causing too much trouble in prison.
Nobody bothers Nikki Finn.
You want her back here? Hell no. Yeah. But yeah, and you know, they're like, yeah, Vivian coming, she's gonna want what's hers. Like it was kind of naive, and he almost seemed like shocked. Philip kind of seemed shocked that, you know, Vivian wanted, you know, him to make good, and because that was part of the deal. She got, you know, she gets a benefit from it. She's the one that forged the letter, and so yeah, now it makes sense. She's coming back now. She has leverage over him, Kate, everybody else that knows. You know, so we'll see what happens there.
I honestly was annoyed with Vivian. I like Vivian, I do, but the fact that she came in and was just like, I set this up so that I could get half. I'm like, girl, what are you gonna do? Like, look at Philip and go, you owe me. Take a payoff and go. What are you gonna do with half of Titan? Run it? You want that responsibility?
Yeah.
Girl, get your money and go sit and have a pina colada somewhere.
Go back to Alamania and have a pina colada.
Yeah. And every now and then when the money runs out, you look at Philip and go, I need some more money.
Yeah, that's the part that lost me. Like when she popped up, I was like, okay, like she did help him, like she deserves her payout. And then when she said I didn't sign up for half of the company, I was like, okay, Vivian, like circumstances change, like, you know, don't be greedy. You still you should get half of what Philip has, not half of the company anymore. Like
And then Vivian, the way they've been writing her the past few years is just not it like she's like, oh yeah, just kill it. We need to kill Xander. I'm like, Vivian doesn't just kill people.
Right.
Last time when she was running Titan after Victor died, and she wanted to be a pill for drugs.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't Vivian. Vivian's a schemer. She comes up with she doesn't just kill people.
Yeah.
So that part of it bugged me, where she was like, just need to kill Xander. Have Kate do it. I'm like, girl, what?
Yeah, I mean,
I agree she needs something, but yeah, take the money. I'm in agreement with y'all. Just take whatever they're gonna give you, half of Philip's half, and go about it. And don't expect it to be like now, like Philip said, they have to be secretive about it.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be Vivian, but it certainly is Philip, because the whole reason that he hasn't succeeded until now is because he just can't. He just is such a terrible planner. It took Vivian coming up with this scheme for it to work, and Xander's helped to implement it to get them across the finish line of taking over Titan. Philip never would have been able to do this on his own.
But still,
he's such a poor planner. Hence how he should have had a plan for Vivian and didn't.
And she thinks she's going to be able to move into the house.
Everything about it was just like, Miss Vivian, girl, like, I'm normally on your side, but like, girl, this girl.
This is very interesting.
This does not make any hill of beans right now. Like, girl, and they just took over Dimera and like celebrating, they're getting along and everything like that. Don't come in here, bless you. Don't come in here messing that up. Like, girl, take that somewhere. But I also will say, I'm over the lie.
Yeah. We're way over it. Like,
because let me tell you, if I were y'all know I love an acting moment. Someone just expose the secret, say that, like, you know, the letter was forged.
The letter's forged by Vivian and Philip. It was all a scheme to get half a Titan.
Me, I had nothing to do with it. If I were Philip, I would have played dumb. I'd be like, what you mean it's a forgery? Victor didn't. Oh, Philip, you knew. I knew nothing of the sort. You handed me the letter. I thought it, you know, in very John Paul way. You handed me the letter. I thought it was real. What do you mean it's a forgery?
See, that would have worked if he'd done that from the beginning. But unfortunately, now he's dragged Sarah and Stephanie and Alex into it. So that plan won't work anymore.
The way Sarah, everybody, the way I would have been like, my name is Bennett and I ain't in it. Oh, you knew about the letter. I didn't know nothing about no letter. I didn't know nothing.
Yeah, Alex is at his wit's end. He's like, what are you people doing?
Okay, he was at its wit's end, but after a minute I was like, dude, calm down.
But
it's fine.
But I feel like he's
like you're being drama queen 1,000% right now. Just, you know, I think it was the clapping. I think it was the clapping that really made it. Like, I was just like, no. I sympathized with you for a moment, and now I'm okay. You're doing too much. We get it. You're upset. We get it. You're upset about it. You were dragged into it. Fine, but calm it down, bro.
But I feel like he feels that way because he looks a certain way. Like, you know, like, oh, I can't satisfy my woman kind of a thing. And it's like, that don't have nothing to do with nothing, sir.
His whole conversation where he just flat out asked Stephanie if she was a better lover than Philip. I'm like, this right here is why I have never been on the Alex train. Ever.
I don't know. I thought he made a good point about the Teresa stuff. He's like, I just came out of this situation and now you're putting me right back into a similar one. Like, I don't know. I thought that made sense to me.
Yeah.
All I heard was Train and Alex, and I'm like, oh.
Oh my god. I can't.
I mean, I don't feel sorry for Alex in this situation. I feel sorry for Xander. Xander is the true victim of all of this.
He's a true victim if he actually doesn't know, because I just feel like in the past couple weeks, Xander has just been like, I feel like he's almost laying it on kind of thick about
he's
Sarah.
He's like too aloof.
Yeah, kind of. And just like the whole thing where he was really leaning into like the gossipy of like this lie between, I was like, and then I was like, why is he doing this? And it's like, maybe he knows and is like playing the long game, you know. And then he gave Sarah those pearls that are like exactly like Maggie's, and I was like, oh, if he knows, this is him. Just like,
yeah, that would be a nice change.
Yeah.
And also, like, I mean, we've talked about it forever about it being like a wash, but now that they have Dimera, I kind of feel like it's really a wash, because he would have never gotten Dimera without Philip. So it's kind of like, you know, how mad are you going to be when the truth really comes out? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Can hear that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're expecting him to blow up and have the traditional reaction. I'm hoping he doesn't, whether it's because he realizes we're much stronger as a family, or whether he already knew and he's playing them. So I don't know. I hope it's one of those things, and it's not the stereotypical reaction of him just being mad and, you know, he's going to break up with Sarah or divorce her or whatever.
I really don't think he knows.
I don't either, but I also don't think that he is going to necessarily. I mean, he could blow up. I you know, if he doesn't know, he probably can and should blow up, but it still doesn't necessarily change anything, because if he goes back and boots Philip from the company, well, he can't do that, because that was, you know, Philip, you know, the presentation of Brothers United was the big linchpin that convinced Wei Shin to be on their side. Remove Philip and they don't have an alliance anymore.
But honestly, for some reason, I just hope that, like, it seems like it's going to be like a whole dramatic filled thing or whatever, but there's a part of me that wants to be like, you know what? I want them to have accomplished so much together, and that it be so good that Xander's just like, whatever, bro.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah. I instead of like making this like huge progression in their relationship and then it being like, you know, like pushed back.
Yeah.
And then adding Sarah and Alec, like everyone to the mix, we all know it's going to be a mess, but I just secretly hope it's not going to be a mess.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if it's a mess for Sarah, like the relationship, like him and Sarah. I wouldn't mind if it's a mess for that. I'm okay with that. But yeah, the business end, I feel like should just stay the same.
Because you know what? Sarah was smart. What was it, this week or last week, that she said, oh no, it was this week. She was like, I lied. I already knew.
Oh, like she's trying.
And then he was like, well, in comparison to what I've lied to you about, that pales in comparison. She's like, and I'm like, oh, you setting him up for the big one. I see what you're doing, Sarah.
The guilt.
Thinking. All right, are we done with the Titan takeover? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another battle. Doug versus Tate.
Okay, so I have to shout out my aunt this week, because after whenever this storyline was done, she texted me and she said, I can't stand that Doug Williams. He's not my Doug Williams. And why would Holly cover for him? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, I'm like, because she's a teenager?
Are we team Doug or team Tate?
Team Doug.
team.
Doug.
Yeah, I'm leaning more Doug than.
I mean, he was
Tate's being
he was a smart ass this week. Let's be honest. He wasn't necessarily the most upstanding this week.
Who,
he really,
Doug?
yeah, he was. He was kind.
We established we like that about Doug because last week when he like
he was
gave
baiting.
what's her face
Sophia,
sass mouth back to her, I was like, oh, okay, I like this.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, he baited
the sass towards Tate. I was like, oh, I like that too because Tate wants to act all righteous, self-righteous,
and innocent when you got a baby mama. And I was very happy that Doug pointed that out.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that Doug slightly put Tate in his place. Like, bruh, let's call it like it is, okay? Mm-hmm. You are jealous because you think that Holly and I have something going on, which is why you told Julie. You ain't have no other reason than that. Something is wrong with you. Get off my nads. Go and deal with whatever you got to deal with, like your baby mama. Jeez. Yeah. It was just like Tate annoys me because it's like while you're trying to act like you want things to get better, you still keep doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
He is his father's son.
Like yes, Doug has feelings for Holly. We all know Holly may have a little bit of feelings for Doug, but you have a whole baby on the way that she has dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of whether, we're talking about, paternity of the baby, regardless of whether the paternity of the baby, he did sleep with Sophia. Like, he did, whether it resulted in the pregnancy that's the current pregnancy or not, he did sleep with somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, just because Sophia and Tate, Tate and Holly may have been broken up at the time, and Sophia and Holly may no longer be friends, but that was her best friend, we were led to believe, for years, since childhood. And that she forgave him for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with Doug being a little bit of a smart ass with him this week. He had it coming.
He had it coming.
What a great song.
But I also like the chemistry with Tate and Sophia too. Like I still like them together, even though we have Rachel coming in and taking over the role. I still like their interaction too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Mrs. Choi, let them folks adopt that baby. I'm so sick of that too. I'm so sick of these meetings about adopting the baby.
I know.
Jeez. The baby gonna be in college before they're like, oh yeah, fine, yeah, you can adopt the baby.
I know, but this is just so stressful. Like I'm at this point, I'm like, Johnny and Chanel, this is not the baby for you. You just gotta let it go and start going through the adoption process if that's what you want. But this is too much.
Anyway, I'm over it. In conclusion,
did we talk about, we probably did, about Sophia being an EJ suspect?
Yeah, she was on that wheel.
She was on that wheel. Okay, good. Because she was all about
it. Sophia is, somebody pointed out Mrs. Choi isn't. I mean I could add her, but I really think that Mrs. Choi is just too pious.
Why? Mrs. Choi wouldn't even be a thought.
She's too pious. Yeah.
I feel like this week they gave us more suspicion of Sophia being they were laying it on the Sophia end. Yeah. So I feel like, I mean, I don't think it was Sophia, of course, but I feel like they made a decision to go with
Which is because of the fact that she was just like, basically he shot and comatose, so out of the picture if that's what you were worried about.
Problems.
It's interesting. Side note, Days always makes me laugh when something is about to happen. When Holly teed it up of if someone knocks on the door, just don't answer it. It's like, okay, girl. Then Tate comes over right as Doug comes out of the shower. Does the classic
step on,
step. drops towel. So now we know he's nude. Hands over, gets his underwear. And I literally thought Tate was going to walk in and he was just going to be stark naked, which I kind of wish that had happened.
Yeah.
Because then maybe you would realize why Holly wants some Doug and not you.
It hits the floor. It's just like thud.
Girl, if that's the case, you got no reason to be poor. You got no reason to be poor.
Girl.
No excuse.
No.
Not in the days of OnlyFans. You got a phone. Just do feet stuff. I'm sure his feet are, You got options. I'm just saying, he's got options.
Okay, are we done with this storyline?
Yeah,
perfect. All right. Before, well, first of all, that has been your week of days, and before we go into our segments, because we don't have tidbits for you today, we want to remind you guys of a couple of things. Number one, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, or make sure you subscribe to the podcast that you're listening to us on. If you're not watching us on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, or wherever podcasts can be found. Just look up Dishin Days. And if you would like some exclusive content and attend some of our virtual events, head on over to our YouTube channel and join our exclusive members only page for $4.99 a month. You get great content and a chance to chat with us via Zoom. So go do it. Also, make sure you show some love to JLJ Media, James Lott Jr. over on YouTube and where podcasts can be found for original audio dramas and your full update of Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful and General Hospital can all be found at JLJ Media on YouTube and where podcasts can be found. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show, our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
All right. Oh.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
That stupid loop button. Why is that the
Why is it looping?
Comma, Tony, did you upload your...
Uh-huh. I realized I did it wrong, but I got it. Yes. My 3 Snaps Award goes to Doug Williams III. That's right. Listen, sometimes you got to let a hoe know that you ain't innocent in this game either, okay? You got a whole baby mama, and you over here causing a temper tantrum over some bullish. All right, sir? Your hands ain't clean, and you don't need to be over here causing a ruckus. You need to be at home figuring out who going to adopt your baby. So, for telling it like a T.I. is, Doug Williams, Peyton Myers, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
Thank you. You also get bonus points for being shirtless and tatted.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for
Caption that.
All right, hang on a second. This week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Gabby on the phone, and you know what? You're just gonna have to deal with it. Didn't realize it exported that way, but it did. And this week's caption goes to Aramid _Dre on Twitter with his caption, "No, Vivian, I don't want to buy a timeshare in Alamania. Quit calling me."
It still works sideways. I still get it.
You still get it. Yeah, you still get it. Well, you're gonna have to, because that's all I got.
Yeah. Wait, can I will say I looked at some of them and I laughed at Annette's when it said representative.
Operator.
Oh, we've all been there.
Oh gosh, I don't even let the automated people talk anymore. I'm like representative.
Are you one that immediately when you just start hitting 0?
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
And then I get pissed off. That is not a valid response. Like,
it is.
I want to talk to a person.
Exactly.
I have a non. What do I call it? Like, I have a non normal. The FAQs are out.
Yeah.
And that was
Caption that.
And now it's time for
Those were the days.
All right, everyone, taking you back to April 7th, 1995, when Peter Blake and Jennifer Horton Devereaux got engaged. If you guys don't remember Peter, this was the only other man that Jennifer ever married, but outside of Jack. And here, this was the years when Mark Valley was playing Jack. If you guys were watching or picked up that year, he might actually be your first Jack outside of Matt Ashford and played for a few years. What? Huh?
He was mine.
Oh, yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on it for a while, approximately 4 to 5 years during that time. But yeah, I also go do a little bit more of a deep dive, not necessarily in Peter and Jennifer a little bit, but also Peter Blake as a character on Those Were the Days Extended. If you are a member, you can check that out. But yeah, taking you back to April 7th, 1995, when Peter and Jennifer got engaged.
Those were the days.
And now it's time for
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to Philip, realizing that even though he's moved back home, he still needs to knock before he enters a room. Just assume that Xander is going to be shirtless half the time, so just knock. Maybe 75% of the time.
Oh, well, he was shirtless. Right. Wait, was he shirtless in that GIF?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Roll it.
Hang on.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Assume.
he got
The
the
scene
rear,
was shirtless,
Philip
yeah.
got the rear view.
75% of the time. Just deal with it.
And that was.
It's a gift.
Can I just say that, like, that whole time Paul Telfer was sitting there with no shirt on, I was like, man, like, he has been working.
He's very lean.
Yeah, and like there's abdomens and muscles. I was like, wow, this is like he's working hard.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed, Paul. We noticed. We gonna give 17 reasons why.
It's one of those moments where you're like, oh, I wonder what he does to stay. And it's probably like, oh, he eats right. He doesn't eat carbs. He exercises. He works out. And I'm starting to think, I don't want to do any of that. I like bread. I like sitting on my ass. So guess what? I ain't gonna be like that.
Well, remember he has those videos too of him like,
chopping
wood and stuff. So maybe, you know what? Maybe that's what you can do. You could go over and chop wood with him.
So many double entendres. So many.
I fell into that one. And next up we have
What are we doing? Oh, I got it.
News and gossip.
All right, everyone, we're starting with some casting information. Casting updates here. We have actually a new audio soap opera coming out, set to make its debut April 22nd. It's called Montecito. Features Days alums Crystal Chappelle, Vincent Irizarry, Mike Manning, and Peter Forte. Follows characters in description: sun-drenched enclave of the ultra-wealthy, where shattered romances, hidden family secrets, and scandalous affairs hide behind manicured hedges in the shadows of towering palm trees. And this is, I'm assuming, Montecito, California, right near Santa Barbara. But it's going to be a 10-episode drama with 2 episodes dropping every week. And two episodes dropping the first week, and then a new episode premiering from there on weekly. And you can find this on Apple Podcasts in the Montecito YouTube channel. Then we have some casting news for Francesca Ari Zucker. She has a new movie on Tubi coming out called Monsters of California. The film follows teenagers investigating the meaning behind paranormal events in Southern California, and that is streaming on Tubi. So go check that out and support Ari. And last but not least, we have a fun little casting here. This one is Patrika Darbo. If you've noticed this new sort of KFC commercial for the Don't Get Box, that she stars in it, yeah, in all of her glory. It's a really fun commercial, just promoting the Don't Get Box, and then you see Patrika here in this sort of motorized chair doing a dunk here. So yeah, go check that out.
Patricia is kind of like the unsung commercial queen.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot lately.
Yeah, she's great. All right, next up, we want to wish belated happy birthdays to Day's own Ashley Puzemis and Lamona Archie, as well as Day's alum Mike Manning, who got a lovely little shout out from his current home at Beyond the Gates. We always love to send him our best. And we want to congratulate not one, but two Days of Our Lives cast members who have received Webby nominations for their podcast. The first is to Days alum Miss Julie Dove for her podcast True Texas Crime: The Significant Life of Angela Stevens, has been nominated for Best Indie Podcast in a Limited Run and the People's Voice Award for the Webbies. You can vote until April 17th, so that'll be this coming week at Julie Dove for vote. Go to Julie Dove for voter information. The winners will be announced April 22nd. Same thing for Paul Telfer's podcast Unsinkable, which has been nominated for Best Limited Series, as well as the People's Voice Award. Again, voting is until April 17th, with the winners announced April 22nd. Paul's Unsinkable podcast has also been nominated for the Best Drama Award by the UK's Radio Academy. So congratulations all around to them. Great job, guys.
Yeah. Next up, we have our reminders. The Day Players are again kicking off their 2025 tour. They have new shows in Oklahoma City, Addison, Texas, Albany, New York, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and then the San Diego date that they added through June. And then we have, again, the new show for Canadian fans is in Toronto on September 6th of this year. And all tickets and info, go to thedayplayersband.com.
Yes. A reminder that this year's PanCan Walk, which is the Pancreatic Cancer Walk, where Hoagie's Home Runners, which is the team that will be honoring the late Drake Hogestyn, will be taking place in 2 weeks, just 2 weeks from now at the Santa Monica Pier. So this is going to be Saturday, April 26th. Martha Madison will be leading the team with Dan Furigal stepping in for Eric Martzoff. Go to Martha's Instagram at Marth27 for event details, as well as the link to donate.
Then we have our Star Image events coming up. We have a Stacey Haddock birthday Zoom with special guest Eric Martzoff. That one taking place on Wednesday, April 23rd. Then we have the Summer Concert and Dance Party happening the weekend of June 20th to 21st. That one in Montreal, Canada. And the Day Players Band, the Toronto show we talked about, they're actually teaming up with Star Image on that one. So you can also go to them for tickets. And then we have a new one that just premiered. We have the Hot Men from Days of Our Lives in Nashville, taking place during the weekend of October 4th and 5th at the Holiday Inn in Nashville, downtown stadium. And all tickets and info, you can go to eventbrite.com/Star Image Entertainment.
Mm-hmm. And then Samantha and friends will be hosting their Winter Wonderland charity fundraiser gala that will be coming up. Oh my gosh, less than a month. Will be in May 3rd through 4th. So that will be coming up. Please get your ticket information on that pretty quickly. And then if you can't make that, there is the Haunted Mansion event, which is going to be in September, the weekend of September 13th through 14th. For tickets and information for these events, go to samanthasfriends.org.
Yes, and that has been
News and gossip.
And now it's time to find out what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
On Days, Sammy's getting spicy, Maggie's getting salty.
That vampire had better be gone by the time I come back down.
Xander's getting angry.
Victor did not write the letter that Philip found.
JJ's getting suspicious.
You think I shot EJ?
Right. Motive, opportunity, and you don't have an alibi.
And Marlena's search for John may be over.
This is the end of the road for us. We need to step back.
Step back? You mean leave?
Days of Our Lives.
She ain't gonna leave.
Gonna go nowhere.
What planet?
No, she's not going nowhere, y'all.
Nope.
Mm.
Tony, did you watch the episodes? You were gone the week, but did you watch the suitcase scene?
When she deflected the bullet with the suitcase
From Orpheus. She defeated Orpheus with a suitcase.
Oh yeah,
and tied his ass up.
Yes. Yes. And then how like Andrew was on the phone and Orpheus just like, where did he go?
I feel like he ran by the
People were
shades.
people were coming in and out of that room like nobody's business, and the door was closed the entire time.
Remember, he was hiding behind the curtains in the window. So
Sure. Yeah.
He was in the closet.
Well, I can tell you no one on this panel is in the closet. I can tell you that. I mean, none of us. Anywho, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another week of Dishin Days. We will be back in 2 weeks. On April 27th, we will make a return. Next Sunday is Easter Sunday, and so we are going to rest and search for plastic, non-expensive eggs. But in the meantime, well, Araceli will be drinking and not be playing the Easter Bunny. In the meantime, keep up with us. Michael Mattis, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter /X at MLMattis.
Justin Lee Hareld.
I'm on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli Aviles.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And you can find us on Dishin Days show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Until then, everyone, have a great and wonderful, safe week. Have a happy Easter. We will be back April 27th to give you a full dish of those week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. All right, everyone, enjoy Dishin Days. Over and out.